Good morning, Lake City Adventures. It's Buffy and Zizi coming to you from our living room. Zi's loving being cuddled, if you can't tell. What a good boy. Coming to you from our living room where we begin the 2025 garden prep work. Isn't that the most gorgeous kitty you've ever seen? He's amazing. Ooh, butt shot. I typically start thinking about my garden in January when all the seed books begin to arrive and I start flipping through to dream about what I want my garden to look like this year. And we had a trip planned in February. As some of you may know, we went to Disney World and had a 7-day cruise on the Disney Treasure, which was fantastic. And we do have a video series following along on that journey if you want to check that out. I decided that I was going to get started on this garden stuff as soon as I got back. We got back about 4 days ago. I had to kind of reset. So today I warmed up the garage a little bit, and then I moved in my garden shelving unit. And I've got my grow lights out, which I'm kind of cleaning everything up. And currently I'm in the process of cleaning and sanitizing my seed trays that I have used. And seriously, I bought my seed trays, we were still in Denver, so 6 or 7 years ago, and I still use the same seed trays. If you buy seed trays that can hold up and you can clean them and sanitize them every year, it really is worth it. Today, my goal is to get my seed starting setup ready. So let's get started and I'll just show you where I am. Well, I cleared out this spot right here along the stairs. Drug this out of the garage where it lives most of the time and actually just kind of has all of my gardening stuff on it. But I brought it in and cleaned it up. I have a couple of different types of grow lights that I've used in the past. These are just, they're cheap LED lights that I got on Amazon. They're longer shop lights. They're very lightweight, and they actually have a plug-in option on each end, which can be handy when you're working on a system. My system changes every year depending on what seeds I'm growing and how many trays. So I have options. These are very lightweight, smaller, full spectrum grow lights. They have connectors with hanging option, which is nice. Here in this box are actually a collection of the first types of grow lights that I bought that actually work wonderful. I got them on Amazon probably 6 or 7 years ago. Hopefully they're still working. I bet they are. Very lightweight. They're like a full panel of full spectrum. They have hanging options. I have them in 2 different sizes. I have these smaller ones, and I have 4 of those. And then I have 2 large panel lights. However I decide to put these lights together, they need to be adjustable. They need to be able to be super low on the seed trays when the seeds are sprouting. And they also need to kind of raise as the seedlings grow. And that keeps the seedlings from getting all leggy and spindly. If the light, they're reaching for the light. So if the light is really high, they're going to reach up tall and they're going to get leggy. This is the operation I have going for cleaning up the seed trays that I used last year. This is a beautiful baby bathtub that my Aunt Brenda gifted me. It was my grandfather's bathtub. But anyway, I think this is the most perfect vessel to use for everything. So my initial rinse off of the trays that are very dirty from being in storage and being used last year. So that's what I'm doing now. So I'm doing an initial rinse off, and I have a septic system here at this house. So I don't want to be rinsing all of this dirt down into the septic tank. So I'll rinse them in this bathtub, and then I will take it outside and dump it. Over here you can see I've been doing the very first wash on my basin trays and my individual trays. Now, I like to do bottom watering for my seedlings. And so these trays can fit inside of these basins, and then I can put water in the basin and it won't spill, and the seedlings can take up water from the bottom, and that makes a really nice root system. The next step is I'll be using the handiest bathtub to put in a very, very, very dilute bleach water, and I will just quick dunk all of my trays in the bleach water, and then I will rinse them really, really well. So I'm going to keep moving along. Okay, time to dump. Time for the sani dip. I like to use regular old bleach. A few pinches will do. I really have no idea how much I'm using here. I just put it in until it smells nice and fresh and not too strong. I love a fresh new beginning to a gardening season. Got them cleaned, sanitized. Now they're kind of sitting out to dry. And it always makes me feel good when I get this part done. I would just like to acknowledge again how grateful I am for this bathtub that is a family heirloom. And I have to believe that it will make my green seedlings that much more magical. Speaking of magic, we're going to skip ahead here about 3 weeks, but not before I show you my garden planning and my magical friend, who is my very favorite garden companion. Well, good morning. It's been a few weeks since the last time I shot a new video, and today I want to show you how I ended up putting together my indoor seed starting, shelving, and greenhouse area. It's not really a greenhouse, warming house, lighthouse, I don't know what you call it, but it's my seed starting area, and let me show you how it ended up looking. So here's my little grow house, just the shelving unit with some, what do they call these? These Mylar, like warming blankets. So this is how it looks with the lights on. Was able to get several shelves set up for a nice grow situation. I need to figure out where to put a fan in the bottom down here or from the top, just to get air circulating through here. We'll see what I end up coming up with. So today I'm going to be working on what I have decided are my first seeds that need to be started indoor. These are peppers and tomatoes. And by the way, in my gardener heirloom seeds, amazing. No, this moonbeam is gonna go in the garden as well. And then the rest of these are dwarf variety seeds that I'm gonna hopefully grow to go on my upstairs outdoor patio. They're all like petite dwarf varieties, so we'll see how those go. I actually got these last year from bunny hop seeds, and I'm hoping that the germination is still good on them. I think it will be fine. I have my trusty new garden tool, this old bathtub to use to mix my potting mix up in, the clean trays, and then a little heat mat to get them germinated on. I'm using the Coast of Maine organic seed starting blend. I'll be putting just a tad bit of these worm castings into the mix, not a whole lot, but enough to give a little extra oomph to my baby green things. Today is March 13th, 2025, and I have waited to start my tomatoes and peppers till today because today is a full moon day, and I believe that a full moon helps everything. I Everyone has their own way of preparing their seedling mix. For me, I typically boil water. I use this Insta-Boiler or whatever pot to moisten my soil to hopefully kill off any larvae that might be in the soil. I've put a bit of starting soil in the tub here and a couple of handfuls of worm castings. And I just wanted to show you how nice this seedling starting mix is from Coast of Maine. It's got some perlite in it, gives it some nice drainage and aeration. It's super smooth, so those little baby sprouts don't have to push through a bunch of junk to get to the surface. So it's a really lovely. And I'm just gonna mix this in by hand, get it nice and distributed, and then I'll add my water. It feels so good to just sink my hands into this dirt. Oh, I cannot wait to start sinking my hands into the dirt in my garden. Trying out the tripod situation so you can see what's going on here. I just put the boiling water into the seed mix and mixed it around with a spoon until it got cool enough for me to work with. And I rarely get it right the first time, but this time I think I got it right. Let me show you what I have going on down here. There she is, isn't it lovely? Oh. So I like to have the soil moistened to the point where I can squeeze it in my hand and it will keep a ball, but not like drip water out of it. So this is a pretty perfect mix right now. So I'm gonna start filling my little trays. Fill your trays to the tippity top and pack the soil lightly. We don't want our seedlings having any trouble pushing their way through the soil. I absolutely love squeezing and fluffing this soil. But here we go. We got our first tray filled. We're gonna go ahead and get started putting seeds in the ground, get them on the heat mat. I'm actually gonna fill one more of these trays with dirt. I think I have enough for one more. I'm gonna start off planting the tomatoes for my garden. So that's the dark orange muscat, the Tommy Toe tomato, and the moonbeam tomato. I also like to document what I'm planting, how many, so I kind of get an idea of what the germination rate is. And I always think I'm gonna remember how much I did of what, and I never do. So these are the dark orange muscat, and these seeds are teensy tiny. So I'm gonna put 3 seeds of this muscat in each of these 2 cells here. And they don't need to be buried super deep. They're tiny seeds. So the depth of your seed planting really depends on the size of your seeds for the most part. And I just push the soil that I kind of moved away back on them and give them a light tap. And then when we water them, and I do like a sprinkle top water after I plant them just to take out some of the air pockets. I'm gonna make a label for these and move on to my next ones. Those of you who have done this before know that it's a significant amount of work, and the work increases as these baby seedlings start popping their head out of the soil, needing constant care. Gardening to me is like meditation. It makes me feel good from the inside to the outside. I can say this, it's a labor of love, and I'm so grateful to have the space and time to do it this year. No matter what it is, find the thing that makes your heart smile. So excited, I just got my first bit of tomato seeds in soil, and it just does something to my heart. I'm just so excited for this growing season. I'm on to my balcony dwarf tomatoes. Alberto Shatters. These look like, actually I did a little reading up on these. These are teeny tiny, like cranberry, blueberry size tomatoes, and they're supposed to be super sweet, and you just pop them off and eat them. And they have a shorter maturity. I think it's 70 days to maturity. Yes, 70 days to maturity. These are also dwarfs. Now, I've never grown dwarf tomatoes before, And I've never successfully harvested tomatoes in my current zone, which is High Mountain Zone 3B. But last year, a friend of mine gave me a small sprout of a tomato, and I just tossed it in my garden just for fun, and it grew really, really well. So my theory this year is, number one, I want to grow tomatoes here. So that's the first thing, a passion and a purpose to grow tomatoes here. The second thing is giving them a good jump start by starting them indoors, babying them, and totally expecting to have to pot them up into bigger pots. So if I'm able to put out into the garden a, tomato plant that's been growing for 2 months inside, that's going to lengthen my growing year by quite a bit. So, but these dwarf tomatoes are all going on my patio. They're not going into my garden dirt. I'm putting those other 3 varieties into my garden dirt. So none of these tomatoes that I've put into the soil are tomatoes that you are gonna find in the store. And I love the way tomato leaves smell, and I love the way they look. And so if I don't get fruit, I don't get fruit, but hopefully I get a nice, lovely plant to look at and adore. Look at how lovely. My little dwarf tomatoes. So much potential here. Got the tomatoes that I want to grow this year planted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 varieties of tomatoes. So funny, my cat's getting stir crazy too, and it's fake spring right now. So during the day it's really nice, but it's still super cold in the morning and at night. And he rang the bells because he wanted to go outside. But as soon as I opened the patio door and he felt the cold air, he was like, no, I don't want to go out yet. Shout out to my family and peeps in New Mexico. This is a New Mexican pumpkin spice pepper. And it's supposed to be hot. So we shall see. I loved the name. And ooh, you can smell the pepper on the seeds. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited. It would be nice to get 1 or 2 at least, or an abundance of peppers. Well, I have successfully gotten all of my tomatoes and peppers into soil. Super excited about that. And I have a few flowers that an indoor start and a jump start on the season would be helpful. Some jasmine scented nicotiana. Never grown that before, but I hear that the smell is lovely and it's a great pollinator. I love sitting outside and smelling the breeze coming from the garden, and I think this is gonna be an awesome addition. And then foxglove digitalis. The deer don't eat this, and so, but it takes a long time to grow and mature. So I'm gonna start it in one of these cells. These grow around town really well, and the deer don't bother them, and they're beautiful. So I'm gonna try that. A plant that needs a nice early jump on the season is the snapdragon. So I'm gonna go ahead and start these inside, and we'll see how it goes. As I was going through planting flowers, some of them require surface sowing, which I know takes sun or light to germinate. I was reading very carefully the planting instructions, and the foxglove, the digitalis, it says it does not like to be disturbed during transplant. So I am going to attempt to grow the foxglove in these biodegradable pots. These are pretty big, so hopefully I won't have to do anything else with them other than grow this in here and plant it directly, like pot and all, into the container at my front door. So we'll see how that works. I have never done that before, but oh my gosh, these seeds are even smaller than, they're so tiny. They're smaller than the snapdragons. Oh my goodness. They're so little. And these plants are so majestic. Is that crazy? Am I the only one who thinks that's crazy? No, I'm not. It's crazy. All right, I'm all ready to water in, and I have this sprinkle bottle, which I love. And I am a bottom waterer, as I said, for the most part. So once these start to sprout, I will add my water directly to the vessels underneath and let the soil soak up the water through the bottom. But I like to make sure that I top water and keep those seedlings nice and moist with a sprinkle type light dressing of water. This, you know, it's kind of like rain. And so it doesn't dislodge the seeds, but it waters them in. I actually found this at a yard sale, this topper, and then just had this bottle. So maybe you have one lying around, or your grandma has one lying around, but these are awesome. One of the main reasons why you do a little watering after you plant the seed is because the water helps alleviate any air pockets that are in there. And I think the plants like it. So there you go. So with that, I'm gonna say I'll see you real soon, and hopefully I have a plant update in, I don't know, a month or so, and I can show you what's happening with these sweet little babies. There they are, all watered on the heat mat, and they're ready for germination. So you can see the snowy garden in the background. These guys will, when that snow is gone and we have those warmer days, these babies will be going out to their new home, and I can't wait. Quick update. It has been 10 days since I planted these guys, and you can see these tomatoes have their first sets of true leaves, and waiting for the second set of true leaves, and then I can separate them a little bit. And everything has a green contingent. Even that one little pot, I was waiting for it, and it has just a little guy coming in. And yeah, so there's that. And over here, I have my next round of friends brewing. But I have some herbs, lavender and hibiscus roselle and parsley and more parsley and basil, oregano, some more snapdragons. So this is next round. I'm starting to see some cinnamon basil actually popping through. It's just been 3 days since I planted this stuff. I just came outside on the porch this morning. It's about 9 o'clock and it's 30 degrees out here. It's a little chilly still, but the sun's shining. Oh my gosh, it feels so glorious. And this spot right here is the perfect place to sit and watch my birds in the bird sanctuary that I built last year, and they are loving it. I have some work that I need to do on it this spring when it gets a little bit warmer, but it held up really well through the winter, and I had a place to feed the birds throughout, and it was really nice. And my stairs that I built last year, that I have a video on the stairs that I built, I'll show them to you in a second. They held up really well over the winter also, and with all of the melt off and drainage, they did awesome. So I'm super stoked to get some projects started for this year, and I'll bring you along. And some of you appreciate the gardening content more than others, but I really appreciate you all just checking in on us from time to time and being at all interested in what we're up to. So thanks so much for that. Here is my sweet pagoda and nice growing medium I have down here. And with the melt off, you can see the seeds that I put down here. My friend Joan gave me some penstemon seeds, which I buried, and also I threw down some deer-resistant wildflower seeds here, so I'm hoping we get a little bit of a grow in this spring. I love these steps, and again, you can see how much ice buildup we have and sort of runoff. And I was concerned because in the years past, this area got very, very icy. And because I widened it this year and added fill to level it, it was so much better. And I'm just so excited that all of that hard work paid off. And now I'm this far along, and so I can continue to create magic in my yard. Little bit of a view of the garden in its early spring. We just hit the spring equinox. You can see there's still tons of snow in there, but there's a little green poking through. My strawberries aren't completely brown. Hi, baby. They used to be fed up here, so they think I'm gonna, hi, sweetheart. Hi, sweetheart. So they think I'm gonna feed them up here, but I quit feeding them up here because I get too many critters in my garden, and so I moved them down to the meadow. Hi, baby. Hi. I love you so much. I love you so much. Anyway, distracted by these amazing birds. I love a chickadee. Thanks for following along on this early spring seed starting journey and a little bit of a ramble into what I plan to do out here this next year. And did you get to check out my sweet baby birds? Aren't they the most amazing creatures? I love spending time with them. So thanks for following along, and more Lake City adventures coming to you real soon. Bye for now.